Welcome to the deep dive. If you're gearing up for those postgraduate entrance exams, well, you know that English vocabulary is absolutely key.
Oh, definitely. More than just helpful, it's often make or break.
So today we're jumping into a specific set of words from Day 22, Part 2 in our prep materials.
Right. These words kind of group around themes like inflation, money stuff, balance.
Quantity, gaps, willingness, even words related to being low or that vive ending, and residence too.
A bit of a mix, but all important.
Exactly. And our mission today, let's really get into the skin of these words, not just definitions, but how they feel, how they work.
Yeah, so you can use them confidently and, crucially, recognize them instantly in the exam. Build that intuition.
Okay, let's start with the big one. Inflation. You hear it all the time. Noun. Hyogishe. Hey, the example given is, their purchasing power has dropped markedly with inflation. So what's the real gut feeling of inflation here?
Well, it's that feeling when you go shopping, right? Your money just doesn't stretch as far. That's purchasing power dropping. The same amount of cash buys you less stuff, less groceries, less fuel, whatever it is.
It's like the value itself is shrinking.
Yeah.
The material also mentions cosmic inflation. That sounds different.
Yeah, just a bit. It is different. Still involves expansion, the A idea, but we're talking the universe blowing up incredibly fast right after the Big Bang.
Okay, so same core idea, getting bigger, but wildly different scales. One's your wallet, one's everything.
Precisely. Astrophysics versus economics.
Got it. How about this for a down-to-earth example? With the recent inflation, have you noticed groceries becoming more expensive?
Oh, yeah. That hits home for most people right now.
Okay, next word, expand, a verb. And the source says, student numbers are expanding rapidly. What's the implication there?
Rapidly is the key word, I think. It's just significant, quick growth. More students means the university needs, well, more everything, doesn't it?
More classrooms, more teachers, more library space. It creates practical challenges.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just a number going up on a chart.
And here's an exam-style use. But in addition to those trusted coworkers, you should expand your horizons. Here, expand isn't about size, is it?
No, not physical size. Expand your horizons means broadening your mind, your experiences, your interests, learning new things, meeting different kinds of people.
So personal growth, which ties into vocabulary, actually, expanding our understanding, not just the number of words we know.
That's a great connection. And the noun form is straightforward. Expansion. Like,
the university plans to expand its campus in the next few years. Simple enough.
makes sense.
All right, moving into money territory with finance. Noun or a verb.
A very common one.
Example. She developed a strong interest in finance. What does finance really cover? It seems broad.
It really is broad. It's basically the whole system of managing money. Personal savings, company investments, government spending, banking, loans.
The whole ecosystem, like you said.
Yeah, how money moves, how it's used, how it's managed at all levels. It's fundamental.
And the adjective is financial.
I'm at it.
We hear that all the time.
And related concepts like financial products, loans, mortgages, stocks, bonds, the tools of the finance world.
Okay. A basic example sentence. Understanding basic finance is crucial for everyone.
Absolutely essential life skill, I'd say.
Now, a specific financial tool. Loan. Noun. Verb. Examples. We could apply for a loan to buy a car, and she took out an $8,000 personal loan. What's the core idea?
It's borrowed money, essentially. Money given temporarily that needs to be paid back, usually, with interest. You take out or apply for a loan if you're borrowing.
And the bank gives or provides the loan if they're lending. Two sides of the coin.
Exactly. Borrower and lender.
Simple example. Getting a student loan can help cover tuition fees. Very relevant for many listeners.
Indeed.
Next, budget. Noun. Noun. Verb. Verb.
Budgeting. Fun times.
The example is sensible people budget their incomes. Why is this so important, especially for students prepping for exams?
Well, it's about control, isn't it?
Yeah.
Knowing where your money or even your time is going. For students, money's often tight, time is limited.
So a budget helps you prioritize. Make sure you have enough for essentials, enough time for study.
Exactly. It stops you running out of cash halfway through the month or realizing you haven't scheduled enough revision time. It's about conscious choices.
Makes sense, like a plan for your resources. Now, there's this example. Eating well on a budget. What does on a budget mean specifically?
It means doing something while being careful with money. Not necessarily being cheap or deprived, but being smart, planning, finding value.
So you can still eat well, just maybe not fancy restaurants every night. Finding affordable ingredients, cooking at home.
Precisely. Smart spending within limits.
Okay, how about this? It's important to create a study budget to manage your time effectively, applying the same logic.
Right. Time budgeting is just as crucial.
All right, deficit. Noun. Examples. The money tourists spend helps decrease our chronic trade deficit, and the trade balance has been in deficit for the past 5 years. What's a trade deficit?
Simply put, it's when a country imports more than it exports, buying more from the world than you're selling to it.
So spending more internationally than you're earning leads to a negative balance.
Right. And the other meaning, a lack or shortage, connects to that. A budget deficit means you lack the funds to cover expenses. You're in the red.
An imbalance, a shortfall. Dialogue example. The company is trying to reduce its budget deficit.
Common goal for businesses and governments.
Now, target. Noun. Verb.
Oh my God.
Examples. The target audience for the TV series is young people aged 13 to 18, and the products are targeted at young people. What's the core idea?
It's about aim, focus, direction. Who or what is something intended for? A target audience is that specific group.
So when you target something, you're directing your efforts specifically towards it, like aiming marketing at a certain group.
Exactly. Like aiming for the bullseye.
For studying. Our study target for today is to review these 10 vocabulary words.
Perfect use. Setting a clear goal.
Next up, balance. Noun. Verb. Example. His wife's death disturbed the balance of his mind. Wow, quite a few meanings here.
Yeah, balance is super versatile. That example shows the figurative sense mental or emotional stability, equilibrium.
Like keeping your cool.
Right. But it can be physical balance, like standing on one foot, or financial balance, the amount left in your accounts, the hue.
So stability, equality, or what's remaining?
Pretty much. All about things being in a stable or equal state.
And this true question example helps you balance your diet. What does that mean?
It means eating a healthy mix of different foods, right? Not too much of one thing, getting all the nutrients you need, creating that healthy equilibrium in what you eat.
A very important balance indeed. Dialogue. It's hard to balance studying with social activities.
Oh, tell me about it. The classic student struggle.
Okay, parallel. Noun. Some. Adjective.
What?
Verb.
Parallel lines.
Examples. Their legal system parallels our own, and a parallel situation exists in respect of predatory mammals and fish-eating birds. How should we think about parallel?
Think of two things running alongside each other, similar in key ways, but separate, like parallel roads. They don't necessarily cross, but they share direction or characteristics.
Okay, similar paths or situations, but distinct. Can you give another simple example?
Sure. Maybe two students independently working on similar research projects, facing similar hurdles. Their research journeys are, in a way, parallel.
Got it. Dialogue. There are parallel developments in the field of artificial intelligence.
Makes sense. Similar things happening in different places or contexts.
Now, paralyze, or paralyze with a Z verb. Examples. Yeah. A football player who was paralyzed in a game, and she stood there paralyzed with fear. Very different context.
Absolutely. The first is physical, unable to move due to injury. Tragic.
Yeah.
The second is figurative, emotional, being so overcome by fear or shock or even indecision that you just can't act or think straight. Frozen.
Physically stuck or mentally frozen. Got it. Dialogue. The heavy workload can sometimes paralyze progress.
Unfortunately, yes. Feeling overwhelmed can stop you in your tracks.
Okay. Parade. Now, if people parade something, they show it in public so that it can be admired. Feels like two slightly different flavors.
Yeah, the noun is often about a celebration, right? A public procession, maybe military or festive.
Like a victory parade.
Exactly. But the verb to parade something can sometimes mean, well, showing off, flaunting wealth or success, maybe a bit boastfully, demanding attention.
Right, celebration versus maybe arrogance. Dialogue. The winning team had a celebratory parade through the city.
Nice positive example.
Next, paradox. Noun. Yay.
Ah, paradoxes. Love these.
Examples. It is a curious paradox that we think of the physical sciences as hard, the social sciences as soft. And two paradoxes exist throughout this credibility process. What is a paradox, simply?
It's basically something that seems contradictory or illogical, but might actually be true or make sense when you think about it deeper. It kind of messes with your head initially.
Like it shouldn't work, but it does? Could you give a simple example?
Sure, a classic one is like, this statement is false. If it's true, then it must be false. If it's false, then it must be true.
Whoa, okay. Makes your brain hurt a little.
Exactly. Or maybe you have to spend money to make money. Seems contradictory, but often true in business. The adjective is paradoxical.
Got it. Dialogue. It's a paradox that we often feel lonely in crowded places.
A very common modern paradox.
Okay, moving on. Paramount. Adjective.
Strong word.
Examples. This matter is of paramount importance, and the welfare of the child must always be the court's paramount consideration. This feels stronger than just important.
Oh, much stronger. Paramount means absolutely number one, the highest priority, above everything else. Nothing is more important.
Top of the list, non-negotiable. Dialogue. For students, academic integrity is of paramount importance.
It certainly should be.
Next, amount. Noun. Verb.
Amount.
Examples. You will gain a large amount of social experience. And their actions amount to a breach of contract. How is amount used?
As a noun, it's just a quantity of something, usually something you can't easily count individually, like experience or money. As a verb, to amount to means equals, or adds up to, or is essentially the same as.
So their actions equal a breach of contract.
Right. That's the outcome or the equivalence.
Dialogue. The amount of effort you put in will affect your exam results.
Direct correlation there.
Now, utmost. Noun. Down. Adjective.
Another intensifier.
Examples. You should study this document with the utmost care, and their colleges continue to do their utmost to keep students in school. This also signals a high degree, like paramount.
Very similar energy, yeah. Utmost means the greatest possible degree or extent. Maximum effort, maximum care, maximum importance, doing your absolute best.
Giving it 110%, basically. Dialogue. We wish you the utmost success in your exams.
A nice sentiment.
Yes, mostly.
Adverb. Nice sentiment. Examples. We're mostly out on Sundays, and large numbers also migrated from California, mostly to other parts of the West. So mostly isn't always.
Definitely not. It means the majority of the time, or for the most part, but allows for exceptions. It indicates prevalence, not totality.
So usually, but maybe not every single Sunday, or not every migrant went west.
Exactly. Leaves a little wiggle room.
Dialogue. I mostly study in the library, but sometimes I prefer a coffee shop. Perfect example of mostly, but not always.
Now for gap. Noun.
Hey.
Examples. There's an enormous gap between the rich and the poor, and there are huge gaps in their knowledge. Seems like it can refer to different kinds of emptiness.
Yeah, it can be a physical opening, like a gap in a fence, or a difference, a disparity, like the wealth gap or generation gap. Or, like the second example, a lack of something needed, knowledge, understanding, an absence or separation.
Different sorts of holes or separations. Dialogue. Identifying your knowledge gaps is the first step to effective studying.
Crucial for targeted revision.
Next, blank. Noun. Adjective. Examples. Sign your name in the blank space below, and she stared at me with a blank expression on her face. What connects these?
Emptiness, basically. A lack of content or meaning or expression. A blank space is empty. A blank look shows no emotion, no thought. Devoid of what you'd expect.
Empty in different ways. Dialogue. Don't leave any questions blank on the exam.
Good advice. Even a guess is better than nothing.
Following blank is vacant. Adjective.
Vacant.
Examples. We stared at the vacant table for a minute or so, and they always give the vacant seats to whoever comes first. How's this different from blank? They both seem to mean empty.
They're similar, but vacant often implies something should be occupied or filled. A vacant seat is empty, but it's meant for someone. A vacant job position is waiting to be filled.
Ah, okay. So an emptiness that implies potential occupancy.
That's a good way to put it. It can also mean a look lacking thought, like blank, but maybe suggesting the mind is temporarily unoccupied.
Interesting nuance. Dialogue. There are still a few vacant positions in the study group.
Looking for members.
Now, reluctant.
Adjective.
Examples. She was reluctant to admit she was wrong, and the second monkey was reluctant to hand hers over for a mere piece of cucumber. What feeling does reluctant capture?
It's that feeling of hesitation, unwillingness. You don't really want to do it. You might do it in the end, but you're kind of dragging your feet. Maybe there's some internal resistance.
Not jumping at the chance, then. Dialogue. Many students are reluctant to ask questions, but it's important to clarify doubts.
Very true. Overcoming that reluctance is key to learning.
Next, volunteer. Noun. Verb. Volunteer. Examples. She does volunteer work at an orphanage, and he volunteered as a tutor. What's the essence of volunteering?
It's about freely offering your time or services without expecting payment. Doing something willingly because you choose to, not because you have to or get paid for it.
Proactive and unpaid help.
Exactly. The adjective is voluntary, done willingly.
Got it. Dialogue. Volunteering can provide valuable experience.
And looks good on a CV.
Okay. Hollow. Noun.
Noun.
Adjective. Examples. The village lay secluded in a hollow of the hills, and the tree trunk was hollow inside. Literal emptiness again.
Yes, literally having an empty space inside, like a chocolate Easter egg or that tree trunk.
But it also means insincere.
Right. That's the figurative meaning. Hollow promises, a hollow victory. Something that looks good on the outside, but lacks real substance, value, or sincerity on the inside. Empty of meaning.
Okay, empty physically or empty metaphorically? Dialogue. His promises turned out to be hollow.
Sadly common.
Then we have shallow. Adjective. Examples. These fish are found in shallow waters, and this shows how shallow their commitment really is. Literal and figurative again.
Exactly. Literally, not deep, shallow water. Figuratively, also not deep, lacking depth of thought, feeling, or understanding. Superficial.
Like someone only interested in appearances, not getting beneath the surface.
Precisely.
Dialogue. Don't base your understanding on shallow research.
Dig deeper.
Next, swallow.
Noun.
Verb. Verb.
Swallow. Bit of an odd pair.
Right. A bird, and then the action of eating. Examples. The pills should be swallowed whole, and she was swallowed by the darkness.
So noun is the bird, obviously. Verb is the physical act of making food or drink go down your throat.
And the figurative, swallowed by darkness.
That means completely engulfed, consumed, hidden by it. Like the darkness just enveloped her entirely. You could be swallowed by a crowd, too.
Okay, quite dramatic. Dialogue. It can be hard to swallow your pride and admit a mistake.
That figurative use is very common. Accepting something difficult.
Now, vivid. Adjective.
Vivid.
Examples. He gave a vivid account of his life, and powerful memory doesn't make my emotions any more acute or vivid. What makes something vivid?
Clarity, detail, intensity. Something vivid feels very real, bright, easy to picture in your mind. It makes a strong impression. Vivid colors, vivid descriptions, vivid memories.
It really jumps out at you, clear and strong. Dialogue. Try to create vivid mental images to help you remember vocabulary.
Good memory technique.
Nearly there. Survive. Verb.
Survive.
Examples. She survived through 2 world wars, and some strange customs have survived from earlier times. Key idea.
Continuing to live or exist, especially through difficulty or danger. It can also mean outlasting something or someone, or just continuing over time, like those customs. Staying alive, basically.
Enduring. And the related words.
Survivor is the person who survives, and survival is the act or state of surviving.
Got it. Dialogue. Only the most adaptable businesses will survive in this competitive market.
Survival of the fittest, business style.
And finally, for this list, revive.
Verb.
Revive. Examples. But rainfall can revive them, and reviving the banking system will be difficult. What's being done when you revive something?
You're bringing it back. Back to life, back to consciousness, back to strength, back into use. Restoring something that was weak, dormant, or inactive.
Like bringing plants back with water or waking someone up.
Exactly. Or restarting an old tradition, or boosting a struggling economy. Bringing it back from the brink.
Dialogue. A short break can revive your focus.
Definitely needed during long study sessions.
Ooh, that was a lot of words. Now let's try putting some of them into a quick chat. Imagine 2 students, Alex and Ben, prepping hard.
Okay, let's see how they might sound.
Alex could say, "Hey, Ben, are you managing to stick to your study budget? I'm finding it really tough to balance all this reading with my part-time job."
And Ben might reply, yeah, the budget's pretty tight, not gonna lie. But it feels paramount that I cover all the key vocab. Sometimes I feel really reluctant to take a break, even though I know, like, a quick walk might revive my brain.
Alex nods. "Tell me about it. I definitely have some gaps in my understanding of these financial terms. I really need to target those areas this week, put in the utmost effort."
Ben could say, well, hopefully if we both, survive this intense period, we'll look back with, like, vivid memories of how hard we worked.
Alex manages to smile. "Yeah, exactly. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get some sense of balance back in our lives afterwards."
That sounds pretty realistic. Captures the struggle.
So just to wrap up, how can you make these words stick? Any quick tips?
Well, flashcards are always good for the basics, but maybe try grouping words, like we did with hollow, blank, vacant, all about emptiness.
Yeah, linking them thematically. And for words like parallel and paradox, maybe create a quick, silly sentence or image that locks in the difference.
Definitely. Make it memorable. And for finance words like inflation, loan, budget, deficit, try connecting them to news headlines you see, or even track your own small budget for a week. Make it real.
Writing your own sentences is huge too, right? Sentences that actually mean something to you about your life or studies.
Absolutely crucial. And don't be reluctant to actually use the words. Say them out loud. Try them in conversation if you can. That really cements them.
It all comes down to consistent effort, really. That's paramount for vocab building.
And focusing on how they're used, the context, not just a definition you memorized. That's the key.
So final thought for you listening. Pick one or two words from today, maybe ones that felt tricky or totally new. What's one specific thing you'll do, like in the next 24 hours, to really engage with those words and make them your own?
Good challenge. Keep up the great work, everyone.
You've got this. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.